Alrighty. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. It's me, Willie B, your national top 8 Azalea competitor. How you guys doing today? Is everybody having a nice chill Friday, I hope? Anybody out there getting ready for their upcoming nationals, be it in the UK or otherwise? Talk to me about it. I have got an ear to lend. So we had a great past weekend. Uh-oh. Hold on a second. My internet thing isn't working. There we go. So we had a great weekend in Flesh and Blood, in the Flesh and Blood. And I managed to top 8 U.S. Nationals with this list right here. Would you care to see it? If you look at it closely, you'll realize something. It's just Brody's. Brody won the Battle Hardened the weekend before. And I looked at the choices that he made. Big one being 3 Merkmeyers, of course, and 3 Battlefronts for Prism. Just because the Prism matchup is so bad. But the 2, there they are. Looking on the wrong color. 2 Codex of Bloodrot. What a cool idea. Like, it's effectively take aim, which, you know, as us Azalea players have come to realize, we should have been playing this since Arcane Rising. We were crazy to never not always be on it. But Codex of Bloodrot is effectively take aim. They both block for 2. They both cost 0. But Codex is yellow, so it's got a leg up there. It has the reload text, so it's effectively the same there. It's not exactly reload, which in a way makes it a little better. You can put like a pump there. It doesn't exactly. Well, you can put a pump there with that other one too. It's effectively reload. I don't think it matters. Yeah, no, because it's just reload. It's just the fact that your opponent has to reload too, and that's where it shines. But before we get there, it makes a ponder and it makes a blood rot. So like take aim is doing +3. So Codex of Bloodrot is giving your opponent a blood rot, so that's effectively 2, so it's 1 less, but you get a ponder. And that ponder can be worth like 3 or 4. And now we're up to like 5 or 6 value. And then anytime that you're fighting someone who wants to give you like 2 cards and then like keep a 2-card hand to throw back, like your KOs of the world, Codex of Bloodrot makes it a little bit harder for them to block. Like, of course, you know, they can figure out exactly what the way they need to do it, but whatever the case may be, it makes it easier for you to get your on hits through. Because now they have 1 less blocking card in hand. Unless they stick a D-React or something like that in the arsenal. It does a lot. And then the ponder that you get off of it is just so nice. Like, being able to roll turn after turn after turn of like, quote unquote, undeserved arsenals because of all these ponders. You know, you deserve them, but do you really deserve them? So yeah, Codex of Bloodrot, like, it's crazy. And then like, what an easy swap. You just drop 2 yellow Spires things for the 2 Codex of Bloodrots. Like, you lose some block, but it's fine. Spire sniping is so schmedium so much of the time. I don't think it ever found me an arrow during the tournament weekend at all. It always, you know, would draw an arrow off a Death Dealer and then find 2 pumps on top. Made me crazy. But it blocks for 3, so that's good. And then the 3 blues, as always. The big thing from Brody was actually the Spellfray leggings. Just for the Kano matchup, having the Spell Void 2, we were already on the Cloak. And, of course, the natural AB2 in the form of Bullseyes and Skullbone. But the Spell Void 2 really just made it. I fought a Kano over the weekend. We can bring up my matches. In fact, that's probably where we should pick up. Let's talk about that. So round 1, it's Vin or Vin. I don't remember exactly how to say it, but it was an Azalea mirror, which is just what a lovely way to start. We can pull up my actual deck list right here. So we're fighting an Azalea mirror. It's round 1. I equip bullseye bracers. This was a mistake. I thought it would be fine afterwards, but you're supposed to be running long draw in the mirror now, because long draw plays around a red in the ledger. You know, if you stick an arrow into Arsenal and you get hit with red, you can crack your long draw and send back a red or whatever it may be for 9, and that's a pretty good response into the mirror when you get hit with a red. I did not do that. I brought in my bullseye bracers, and needless to say, that was one of my 2 losses. It wasn't just because of the gloves. He found his knocks and his reds way before I found mine. So it was what it was. The next match against Joseph was against that wasn't the dash. The dash was round 4. What was round 2? Oh, that was the Kano. Okay, round 2 against Joseph was the Kano. And he took it slow because I had AB2 and Spell Void 2. I think he was trying to bait me into using the Spell Void 2. Like he threw a Sonic Boom at one point that he had to crack an energy potion for. And I'm pretty sure he was just trying to bait out my Spell Void, because I remember thinking like, ooh, energy potion for a Sonic Boom. Like, I'm glad you're not saving that for later. But I never relented until I saw Wildfire. I didn't use the Spell Void, and when I did, I ended up living and finishing him at like 6 health, maybe 8 health. But yeah, got there. And then the next match was against Kevin Meyer, and Kevin, my second loss and final loss of the tournament. Well, that's not true. He was on Riptide. Would you believe it? Another ranger standing in my way. And this was one where I felt pretty good. I'd done a fair amount of Riptide practice leading up to the event. But I had a friend tell me last second to run Dreadbore instead of Death Dealer. Which, oh, by the way. Cheers to me and to all of you. Thanks for chilling and being a pal. If you're one of the homies, throw back a tall one. I also just kind of hit the ground running, just talking. Tiffin, I can stream but not answer DMs. Ooh, yeah. You got me there. Daily, you're glad I'm alive? Thanks so much, man. Me too. I went to the hospital the other day, but I'm all good now. Insane amounts of ego. Oh, just full of myself. Completely full of myself. The hospital, what happened? Nothing. I'm fine. I'm actually getting over a little bit of a, festival funk, or I guess I should say tournament funk. I think when you shake that many hands, it gets you, or at least it got me. I know Nathan was a little getting over it as well on his stream. No wonder Kyle is looking for new player. Hey, by the way, the card guys are looking for a new player, so or maybe 2. So if you're a good Flesh and Blood player, maybe reach out. Are you also recruiting for your team? Yep. I can. Yeah. I'll put in a good word. What's up, Terrence? All right. Anyway, so yeah, I got convinced to run Dreadbore over Death Dealer into Riptide. And in my testing, it had been Death Dealer, but Brody was on this thing, and my friend was on it, and we had come to the conclusion that it wasn't good for Enigma, that we were running Death Dealer there. So it was like, naturally, this card is in our list for something, right? Oh yeah, it must be Riptide. So I kind of just let that logic guide me, and it was wrong. It was a trap. Into a hero who plays traps, but not enough for that stupid bow to matter. Or so it turned out, at least the version that I fought. So I just was seeing like the value on top of my deck with cross wrap, and just having to ignore it because I'm not on Death Dealer. And then the match ended where, like, if I had been able to draw off the top of the deck like just twice, where I could have done it like 5 times, I would have beaten them. I would have won that match. But because I just had to ignore all that value, I did not get there. I'd shoot a big arrow and it'd be like Remorseless, And so it'd be like no defense reactions from hand and no defense reactions from Arsenal. Riptide, like, you're cooked. and he'd be like, "Oh, cool. Take the damage and play my entire hand out, and like throw all this damage back at you." It did not work. So that was a bit of a bummer. So I took a loss there. But that's okay. You know, the Riptide and the Azalea, both the ones that beat me, were really cool cats. So hard to be too mad at that. And the next up was Justin Smith. Kind of lucked out here. It was a dash. Kind of needed to get that win in round 4 to have a chance to stay like X2. I pretty much knew like I had to be X2 at the end of day 1 to have a chance, you know, in day 2. And even still there, like odds are so slim. And I still have to get through draft at this point. But I sit down and it's a dash, and I'm like, oh, awesome. Ended up being close as heck. The dash got me to 1. Like, pretty scary. I ended up getting him, but like it was a good back and forth. Justin gave me a good fight. And then we have Dan Wolak. Oh, no, well, now we're into draft. All right, so I've got my draft decks made up on here. We were Enigma in our first draft. This draft was interesting because I sit down, and if I remember correctly, let me see. Boop, boop, no, boop, boop, boop. Yeah, I hope I don't at least. I'm pretty sure when I sat down at this draft, I didn't recognize anybody at the table. And that's not to say like, oh, it's a bunch of nobodies. Like, no, when I sit down, I'm trying to read the table. I'm trying to get some kind of information. And the fact that I didn't recognize anybody means like, I don't know if you're trying to be an assassin. I don't know if you're trying to be a ninja, or if you're trying to be an illusionist. Like, so I don't get like an early signal, you know, a signal before anybody sends a signal. So I basically just really had to play my seat, which is what you probably should be doing anyways. But you know, like in heavy hitters, if you sit down to draft with Josh Lau, you probably realize like Kasai or Olympia is one less person open for you, you know. But yeah, so I didn't have any free information that way. I basically just had to put on a good draft, and really, right here at the top, this is what tied it all together. 4 pieces of armor in Enigma is cracked. And I don't think you get the chest that does something when you go to 1. Just get this. Just take that. It's great. The other 2, like maybe the one that makes a chi. Maybe. But even still, like I don't think I would have gone 3-0 if I didn't have exactly 4 pieces of armor. And this one could be any of the other 2 hats, but these gloves were essential. And funny enough, during the draft, we're in pack 3, and I've got a hat, I've got shoes, I've got gloves. Or no, this is chest. And I'm thinking to myself, like, it's pack 3. I'm getting past. I just, you know, took a card from the 8 card pack, and I shipped it. Now 7 cards are coming to me. Like, I'm not gonna get gloves. It's too bad. I accepted it. I was like, it's fine. We're just gonna have no gloves. We'll make it work. And then I pick up the 7 cards, and boom, there's an uphold tradition. I couldn't believe it. I windmill slammed it. Not exactly, because it's a competitive draft, but you know, I was very, very thrilled to see it because it was the missing puzzle piece, and they was just right there waiting for me. Outside of that, if you look, this is not the most amazing Enigma deck. The main thing that stood out to me in this draft, I started off grabbing like Solitary and sent like some good ninja and assassin cards to try and build good ninjas and assassins to my left. There wasn't really an amazing illusionist card in all of pack 1. Like I basically got these blue 3 blocks, at least 1 or 2 of these chi. I think the waning might have been pack 1 actually. I know the waxing wasn't until pack 3. Definitely, I got Gravekeeping, but effectively, long story short, I was taking the good enough illusionist cards, especially, I think whenever I started seeing the Vengefuls, I was like, oh, okay, we can be a Vengeful deck. 4 Vengefuls and 4 Solitaries is a cheat code. Play the Vengeful, let it pop, play this at instant speed, boom, now you got a board state. But a big thing you'll notice in my strategy is I like to, you know, revolve, like, I got a yellow Spec Manny because I was like, close enough to red, we'll take it. But yeah, build one of these suckers. Anything that you can put out and then get a counter on, whatever way you get a counter on it. and then just swing your aura weapons. Hopefully, have a shield to go with, so you can go like 4, 2, and then finish with like a 3 for 7, a 0 for 4, a 2 for 6, or a 1 for 5. I had the full gambit: 1, 2, 0, and 3. Like, I always had a gross finisher to end with, and that's the thing. Like, if you fight a ninja who can just continuously clear your board and you don't really get to punish him too hard, like, you're gonna get fatigued. But if you can swing, 4, because this, got a counter off of Vengeful, go again, and then finish with a 1 for 5, like, now he's got to eat that 5, and he can only do that 4 times before he's just donezo. Lord forbid you throw a 3 for 7 at the end. Like, it was just crazy. You'll also see I have Levels of Enlightenment. That card, never played it. I actually took it out against the Assassin so it wouldn't get played against me, and sideboarded, I think, a yellow Evasive Leap in. But in the other 2 games, it pitched for blue and it blocked for 3. So I had a bomb, but it never got a chance to be anything aside from pitch and block. These blue defense reactions were awesome. They were always good. And Path Well Traveled, Droplet, just great. So anyways, we fight Dan Wolak, round 1 of the draft. He was an assassin. And basically, I built a board state. He was able to clear it with a pick to pieces, but then I rebuilt, and he was ever able to take that one apart. And I just finished him through like swing a aura weapon, finish with something else, and eventually he just couldn't keep up. But I was very scared when he cleared the first wave of auras with pick to pieces. I think he got me to like 2 or 3, so pretty close. William Pistol, Billy Pistol. We'll talk about him later. He did pretty good. But I fought Billy Pistol in the next round of draft. This was the Mirror, if I'm not no, wait, no, it wasn't. He was on Zen. This was against a ninja, and I just did the exact same thing: make an aura, swing it, finish with a 2 for 6. He had 2 hands of no blues though, like 2 hands in a row where it wasn't all reds, but like his pitch was a yellow. And this is a set where, like, especially in Zen, where you're not able to make a tiger by pitching a blue into the requisite Mystic Ninja attack, then the yellows really are just gonna let you down. And he had 2 turns in a row against me where he just didn't get to realize the full potential of his hands because he just didn't have a blue, and the cards just didn't do what he had drafted them to do. So that was huge. I forget if it was very, very close or not, but I imagine he probably gets me if he's drawing blues and actually getting to do all the things he wants to do with his cards. But as it was, he drew yellows, and I beat him. He ended up playing the Calling and ended up winning the Calling. And he messaged me later and said, "Hey, Will, thanks for knocking me out of Nationals so that I could go on and do this instead." I was like, hell yeah, that rules. And then we've got Quinn. Quinn was very good. I think somebody told me that he 20-0'd his Illusionist Mirror before he fought me for the 3-0. But I unfortunately 20-0'd Quinn. I won the die roll. I chose to go first. We played out Solitary and Waxing, so I had a 3 ward, a shield off of the Solitary, and a Waxing on board, and he didn't have an instant to respond with, and he just was never able to kill the Waxing, so I ran away with it. That's just the Illusionist Mirror. In draft especially, like, if one person resolves a good board and the other person can't clear it, especially like in like 2 turns at least, Lord forbid you want it in 1, but like if you can't even clear it in 2, then it's just over before it really begins. So yeah, I finish X2 by going 3-0 in that draft, and then we fight David Sitrek the next day in the first round of the next draft. This draft, I sit down, and Josh Lau is in the corner from me. Having practiced draft with him, I realize that he's more than likely going to go Zen. Maybe Assassin, maybe. But I practiced draft with Josh a lot, so I basically had a good idea of what he was going to do. The person immediately to my left was a friend of mine, and I know that he likes Illusionist. He's not going to force it, but he's pretty partial to it. And then the guy, like, right here to my right, and then right in front of that guy, kind of at the diagonal of me, I know are just like Illusionist forcers. Maybe not forcers, but they're pretty down to go Illusionist. So I realized right away, I can't go Illusionist. I'm not going to go new. So we're drafting Zen. And it's kind of perfect. Josh is just far enough away from me that if I'm able to like get lucky and not have one right next to me, you know, who's doing it from pack one, pick one, then I should be able to signal strong enough. And then Josh is signaling on the other end of the table that he's also ninja. So I should be able to like be a fairly competent ninja deck, or so I hope. That's basically what I sit down and I do. My pack one, pick one is Biting Breeze. It's a foil, so I'm not sending a good signal to the person to my left, but it was the best card in the pack. Like, the other ninja cards were like pretty dog, like not very good. And then the illusionist stuff and the assassin stuff is like good enough, you know. Illusionist stuff is actually fine. I just know that I'm more than likely not going to be able to be illusionist in this draft unless I want to risk going 2-1, then I'm looking for the 3-0. So we draft Biting Breeze, and then the very next draft is like, the next pick is like a Red Harmony, so I can go ahead and start sending actual signals after the foil pick. But this was an interesting one. I talked to you earlier about how I like the finishers, and we had some red generic finishers in the form of these Nimble Strikes. Not quite Gravekeeping, not quite a 1 for 5, but it's a 1 for 4, and if I can resolve this yellow Nimbleism, it can be a 1 for 5, so good enough. But aside from that, and a yellow Battlefront Bastion, which is like fine. I'd rather have the 2 for 6, you know. But this is good on defense, so it is what it is. But I don't really have very many finishers. And in the process of the draft, I'm seeing a lot of these blue Mystic finishers, specifically Droplet and 2 of the 1-cost Rising Tides. So right away, I realize, okay, if I'm going to make this work, I need as many blue starters as I can get my hands on. And I just started prioritizing these blue harmonies, this blue tiger form, and even wind chakras a little bit. But these are just fine because I really like being able to spread the damage between multiple tigers if I'm able to, you know? Because you can always get one on the stick, and then like with a wind chakra, you can do it more. So it's just, I like being able to swing 2 tigers and have both of them swing if you can. So these wind chakras really shine. But yeah, I've got all these blue finishers. I really went out of my way to get all these blue starters, and they end up being great. So let's go through the matches. David, this was... I fought all 3 hero types, so this must have been Assassin. This was pretty scary, because it's not like the day before where I've got a sideboard and I can take out certain blues. Like, I basically just have to play all of my blues into Assassin. And fortunately, this Assassin never transcended. So even though they were banishing, doing like good damage, they never transcended, so they were never able to like have a crazy go wide turn with all of my ninja blues. And without that, I basically was able to just get them through pure efficiency. They put up a good fight, but my numbers were just more annoying and wider and a little bit bigger, so it worked out. I think they also drew a hand that was like 3 red attack reactions and a red not stealth card, so it was like, that's pretty rough too. Chandler Toe was Enigma. That match, I elected to go first. I won the die roll. And trying to avoid Enigma resolving some like not instant speed auras, like, you know, a solitary, whatever it may be. I was like, I'm just going to go first, and if I can draw my Blessing of Ki, then I'm just playing games. And what do? I drew my Blessing of Ki. So I played out Blessing of Ki, I arsenaled a red Pouncing Ki, I then drew a red Pouncing Ki, and my 0 for 4. I was super happy to have this 0 for 4 in this deck. Oh, I had a red 2 for 6. So there were some finishers in here even still. But these blues ended up being great. What was I saying? The hand was essentially just... I played out 2 Pouncing Keys, a tiger that swung for 3, a tiger that swung for Probably had like Harmony of the Hunt because I did like 3 stick and then a tiger that swings for 1, and then I finished with a 0 for 4. Like it was crazy because like my opponent, David, I believe, no, Chandler resolved an amazing board. He had like a crazy amount of good things, and then I just go like 3 4 3 2 1 4 4 like there's nothing he could do to protect his board, and it actually screwed him. He tried to protect his board. He ended up giving me like all of his armor and like a bunch of blocking cards to try and protect his Waxing Spectre, which he then ended up losing. And by cashing in like all the armor and all those blocking cards, it basically like set him back. Where if he could have just taken that damage and like kept all those resources, it would have been better. So that was very lucky for me. And then against Josh, I fight Josh for the 3-0. Josh Lau, my teammate, for 3-0 in the draft to like have a shot at making this top 8. And who wins the die roll? He's Zen. He's got more armor than me. I've only got the 2. He's got more. He wins the die roll and makes me go first. I'm defeated. I'm screwed. I'm like, I've already lost. The match hasn't even begun and I've already lost. Unless I play out a blue Harmony. I think I kept like a Nimble Strike or something for Arsenal, but I go Harmony, he blocks it. I swing Stick, he blocks it. I swing Tiger, he blocks it. Or no, he takes that, I think. I don't remember exactly. But I finish with Droplet, and it comes in for 4. And he has 2 cheese in his hand, so he can't block. So he has to take all 4 of that and start our matchup at 16 with me with an Arsenal. So that was huge, and that's effectively how I beat him. Getting 4 through on turn 0 just made it so, even though he had the advantage by going second, I kind of negated that advantage, and in the end, I was able to get him just through 1-1-1-2, you know, stuff like that, or 1-2-1-1, stuff like that. And then we go back to Constructed. Now we're back on Azalea. Our first matchup is against Daniel Ferreira. What was Daniel on? Where's my life pad? I'll have to check this one because I don't actually remember, but I wrote all these down. Okay. Not that one. Not that one. Zen! That was my first Zen. That's right. Dude, Zen was so scary. I was practicing Zen because I was convinced it was going to be like the move for the tournament. All of my friends who were on Zen were beating up on my Azalea. But the matchup was fine at the end of the day, even though they could just explode on you. So yeah, though, Daniel Ferreira was on Zen. And I got him, honestly, just by doing Azalea things. Shooting big arrows. One of my Remorseless hits did like an additional 4, maybe even 5 damage because of his turn. And then he ended up dying just to a dominate. Yeah, I dominated for like 7 when he was at 3 and got him. And I was at 1. So very scary. Had to go to 1 against Zen, but he didn't transcend in the first like 3 turns. And I found if they don't transcend right away, it helps you a lot because then they just sit on their hat. They're like discouraged to block with it until it actually does the thing. So that was pretty sweet. Andrew Blackwell was my next match. I believe that was against a new. I think that was against a new. Yeah, that was against a new. Another scary matchup where I went to 1. But I just treated her like I always treat Assassin. Like, if you make it super clear to me, like, block or else, alright, I'll block. But otherwise, like, I'm just not gonna block. It's like, do your worst, Assassin. If it truly cripples my hand, good for you. You're probably gonna win. But if it's just, like, slightly disruptive, I'll just play through it. And that was basically all it was. They were never, like, super duper disruptive. They were disruptive. The mask was really good, actually. Whenever they were able to activate the mask and make me banish a card, that was great. But they just never, like, took more than 1, or, like, I think they took 2 cards once out of my hand, but it wasn't, like, I had a good enough arsenal and a tuna counter and, like, 2 pumps still in hand afterwards, so it was fine. It was a good matchup. I went to 1, but I just said, beat me before I beat you, and they couldn't quite do it. It was close, but not perfect. Next up was Nathan. This was the stream game that was a little bit wonky. Shout out to Vero. Thanks so much for going to bat with me for the judges. But I won this game. On stream, it looks like I lost, but I technically Nathan went to 2 and then died to a blood rot. It just got lost in all the IP and other craziness that happened in the course of that game. But that was awesome. I like the Enigma matchup as Azalea. It's really tricky, but it's really fun too, being able to line up certain Murkmires. Like, I don't even think I got to fire like a Murkmire to good effect that game. He banished it with a passover, which was great. Turned off my Codex of Frailties. But I think I played that game really well. Like, I went for every out that I could. He kept putting up ward. I kept tearing it down. Like, that was fun. That was a great game. A little annoyed that the stream was so messed up because of all the mistakes and stuff that happened. But aside from, you know, I should have been more on the ball about the blood rot, but I just got so confused about the IP that he had and all the different moving parts. Like, he drew up to 4 when he was supposed to draw up to 3. Like, I think the same turn that he was supposed to die to the blood rot as well. So it was just like a lot of moving parts happening at one time. So no shade thrown at Nathan. He was a super sweet guy. Being on stream can be stressful. I've been on it a decent amount, but at the same time, I let the blood rot situation slip as well. So whatever. And then I fought Jonathan Moore in the last round. This was an Azalea mirror. Funny enough, round 1 was an Azalea mirror. Round 14 was an Azalea mirror. And this time I found all the good stuff before they did, and I just went crazy on them. It was like 21-3. I ended up dropping down to like 7, but I really just dropped that low to finish the game. But Jonathan was a super sweet guy. The Azalea mirror is not exactly the most skillful thing. Like, there's a lot of skill expression to be had, but if you find knock and then like Codex and then like find a red either in the hand or on top of your deck in the very next hand, it's like you just win the game. There's nothing that the other Azalea player can do under those specific circumstances. But those circumstances don't always come up, so there's some skill to be had, but unfortunately there's a lot of non-games too. But yeah, I won this game, finished out day 2 undefeated. So I finished with 12-2 on my record. It was awesome. I was through the roof. I was so excited, like top 8ing. The big goal in Flesh and Blood of mine was to top 8 a calling. I top 8'd Nationals. Like, that's even better. So I got 36 XP for my exploits, 117.86 elo. That's quite a little bump up. I'm now 1781, 85th in the world. Not too shabby. And then Andrew Rothamel, who is just the sweetest human being. What a nice guy. He beat me in top 8. I could have said no to playing around Reckless Swing. But in the moment, I was like, man, if I died a Reckless Swing, that'd be so embarrassing. I'm just not going to let it happen. When realistically, that wasn't very smart, because like I could have very easily have died to Pulping as well. So it's like, the second I had a maybe dominate for game, I should have gone for it. And I had it when I decided to play around Reckless Swing. And he didn't do anything. He just beat me. But if I hadn't played around Reckless Swing, I actually get to dominate for 10 there because there's an arrow on top. It's not even blind because one of the pumps was read the glide path, so I get 1 look. So 10 dominate would have won me the game, but I decided to play it careful. It ended up not being correct, but that's fine. I was talking the night before that like I felt like I had already won, and in my opinion, I did. I top 8'd Nationals. I sold my gold foil for $2,000. That was awesome. Like, your boy did great. I had an awesome time. It was really, really fun. I played really, really well. Don't watch that one stream. I mean, there was a lot of things happening there. I'll forgive myself for that, not being good about that one blood rot. But yeah, it was fun, man. It was pretty darn awesome. Thanks for cheering me on. I watched the stream and I saw a lot of people were being pretty cool in the chat. But anyways, speaking of chat, what are you guys talking about? Oh my gosh, a lot apparently. I'm your goat, Siphon? Hell yeah. Thank you, Taylor. I appreciate it. I had a feeling it was you, Lee. Like the second or third message I read kind of gave me a clue. What up, Charlie? Unsure how you feel about your Nats list, Riku? I mean, if you have any inkling to play Azalea, I think that she's a great choice. But at the same time, KO, Zen, Kano, there's a lot of good choices right now. Okay, what's up, F Prism? Just joined. Yes, thank you. Hey, what up, Billy? DM Armada says Azalea's the goat. Hell yeah. Thank you, Ed. Oh, what's up from Ireland? Appreciate it, Findel's Fighting Spirit. Congrats. Thank you, Aggro Blaze. Did I learn what the gold foil was? I did not. I could reach out though. It was sold to Open Boosters. He might post a picture or video or something when he gets it graded. He usually shares on Twitter all the cards that he gets graded. Yeah, definitely don't open the gold foil. I got a pretty penny for that thing. Why gamble and open up a Steelbound Resolve, whatever that light warrior chest is called? Thanks so much, Brent. Oh, you always miss slash punt on camera, Billy. Well, funny that you're here, Billy. We're actually about to talk about you. So Billy, I get really, I talked about the deck that I brought. It was just Brody's deck, but Brody had a great deck. Why would I make any changes? Well, here you go. Billy made some changes, and I actually rather like his changes. I would run it back with the same Azalea list if I was playing in a Nationals this weekend. But if I had the chance to make some changes, I actually really like what Billy did here. And, it goes to show it. He won the calling. For one, I would just say fuck Dreadbore and drop it. But that's just me. Billy might have a matchup that he really likes it for, but I'd get rid of it, say screw that card. I found for Riptide and for Enigma, I just want a Death Dealer, so it doesn't seem worth it. He doesn't have the Spellfray legs, so that I would just drop Dreadbore for that. I think for Kano, you actually want the Spell Void too. I like the 3 Battlefront Bastions. One change that I would make to my list, I would drop the 3 Fatigue Shots and just put in 3 Sleep Darts instead. Here, it would be 2 Fatigue Shots for 2 Sleep Darts, unless Victor... If Guardian is going to be a part of your Nats meta, or if Victor is trying to step up to challenge the rise of Azalea and Zen, if that is a viable choice, I think it is. I've seen some good Victor stuff right now. I don't know if it's going to just get absolutely creamed by everything else, but at the very least, there was no Victor at my tournament. So I would swap Fatigue Shot out for Sleep Dart, just because Sleep Dart is good into Zen and it's good into KO. Where Fatigue Shot's only good into KO. It's kind of good in the mirror too, actually. But Sleep Dart is kind of fine in the mirror as well. So yeah, I think I would drop Fatigue Shot for Sleep Dart. I would keep in the Battering Bolts. These actually have text against the Mystic heroes, which is really cool. I didn't realize it until I saw Billy on it, but Battering Bolt is actually pretty smart. And it's a popper, kind of. And if you up the blue counts, like he did, drop the yellow Spire Sniping in lieu of blue. I'm not sure exactly how you made room for the second one. It's probably the Spellfray legs. But, aside from that, it's effectively the same list, but we're on Battering Bolt. We're on 2 more blues to make up for the Battering Bolt. And 1 less Fatigue Shot, but this is just a tech arrow, and I think Sleep Dart is just as good. Unless you specifically have Guardians coming, you're not gonna miss it. But yeah, I would make specifically those changes. Spire Sniping to blue, Battering Bolt in, Fatigue to sleep, Drop Dreadbore for Spellfray Leggings. Just because I already liked what I was on, but these experimental arrows, well, this one really, it just seems like it would be very good. It's something that your opponents have to respect more often than not against Zen. Like, whenever he's trying to have his crazy turn, it usually requires like an Art of War or an Inner Chi. So you fire a Battering Bolt, now he doesn't get to have that turn. It makes a lot of sense to me, honestly. But yeah, I think Billy kind of knocked it out of the park. And I'm super happy with how he did. I'm super happy with how I did. Honestly, an all-around amazing weekend. The food was good. I ate more steak at Fogo de Chao than I've ever managed to stuff down my face. Nah, it was a great time. Anyways, back to the chat. You're a Battering Bolt evangelist now? Hey, I was big on it back when we were on more blues, but when Brody said no blues, I was like, oh, well, we got to get this thing out of here. But you made room for some blues. Any changes to the deck I would make to have better game into Zen? Sleep Dart, Sleep Dart, Sleep Dart, Sleep Dart, and Battering Bolt, like we were just talking. But yeah. 3K1 and Nats? Oh yeah, I did great. Isn't that great? It's gonna fund all the trips like from now on. Because before it's like I gotta save up for Japan or Amsterdam, and now it's like, oh, I've got Japan and Amsterdam. But yeah, so sweet. You're dropping Dreadbore as well? Sweet, dude. It felt so worthless. It was like, why am I running this piece of crap? Oh, was he on 2 drill shots? I didn't even notice that. Billy, were you on 2? You didn't even tell me. You were. That was the missing number. Okay, 1 less drill shot. You know what? Yeah, with less Guardian, hell yeah. Like drill shot's good, but the 3rd is probably not super necessary. Yeah, I think I can get behind that. Personally, I will drop Battlefront for Battering Bolt. That's fine. Battlefront is really going to shine if you're going to run into Prism. The 7 actually matters into Prism these days, but it's probably fine. Is there a point in using Point the Tip? Point the Tip is that like an aim counter, or is that like a opt the top 5 cards, and if it's an arrow, put it into your arsenal or something? I'm not sure what card Point the Tip is, but I'm going to say no. Not to be too short, but we tested all the potential pumps, and aside from like the one that lets you look at the top of the deck from outsiders, it's like there's not really anything worth putting in there yet, unless some kind of change happens to the deck. How many card guys am I going to see at the Pro Tour? You're going to see me, and you'll probably see Josh. I'm trying to twist Nathan's arm to make Nathan go, hey, everybody hit up Nathan. Tell him you want to see him at Amsterdam. But at the very least, you're going to see me. As a Warrior player, thank you for dropping Dreadbore. Honestly, Henry, I hope it helps your game plan. I never would have brought in Dreadbore against Warrior. +3 plus aim counter. Okay, Point the Tip is +3 plus aim counter. I assume. Oh, is that new card? Or is this like a 1 cost? Because if it's a 1 cost pump, I don't care enough about aim counter for that. I'd rather just have a 0 cost +3. What's up, Taylor Crawford? Does the new pump from the Armory deck get a look? For Riptide, I'm not running it. Unless the new shoes care about aim counters. And they've got to be really good if they care about aim counters. I think they're going to block for 1 and say reaction break them arrow with aim counter gets go again. You know, they're going to be Snapdragon Scalers that block for 1 and give specifically arrows with an aim counter go again. And if that's what they are, I might not be running them. Yeah, I might not be running them. Now, there's a chance that Azalea has to run more blues going forward to deal with Ruin Blades and stuff. And Wizards, Ruin Blades and Wizards are coming out, so maybe we need more blues. And if we're running more blues, then maybe we run that one cost pump that gives us an aim counter. And if we're doing that, then maybe we run that arrow that is kind of like Red in the Ledger if it has an aim counter. Like if we're doing those things, then maybe. But the current version of the deck, that new pump, I don't want it. I don't much care for it. It's kind of like Deadeye, and I didn't like Deadeye when I was on it, and I certainly don't miss it. So like a new Deadeye that is really only good if I'm running arrows that care about aim counters, and I'm not. Like Infecting Shot gets +1, that's cool, but it's not that cool. Drill Shot gets piercing, which is cool, but it's not that cool. So it's just like I currently don't care about aim counters. They need to give me a reason to care. And arcane heroes in the form of Ruin Blades and Wizards might do just that. So we'll see. But I'm hoping the shoes aren't what I guess they are. But I feel like they're just block one and then break them at reaction speed to give an aim counter arrow go again. But we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. Oh, okay. Odd. It's a 0 cost +3 plus an aim counter. That exists? Why would they print this new card? That's 1 cost +3 and an aim counter. Deadeye is fun, Mo, but it cost 1. I really liked that it blocked 3 more than it cost than playing it. I would block with that thing so quick. um, if it's 0 cost +3 and an aim counter, like that's not so bad. But I'm surprised that that exists because we're getting like a new Majestic that's 1 cost +3 and an aim counter. So, interesting. Point the tip has to be face up. Oh, okay. Thoughts on Balance of Justice? It's also for Prism. It's not just for KO, it's for Prism. You need to be able to block an Erudition. Admittedly, they're gonna like pump it with their glove or a war figment, but the hat will block the first Erudition, hopefully. And when they do their pop-off turn, you get to draw a card. It's really more for Prism than it is for KO, in my opinion. So I think it's fine. It's not like super duper necessary because I almost ran Skullbone into KO in the top 8. I was happy with my choice. Balance of Justice, the 2 block is what gave me the option to drop to 1 and then dominate him for game. So without the hat, I wouldn't even have had the option. So yeah, I like Balance of Justice there, and then I actually I full on like it for Prism. So it is what it is. It's not like amazing, but I think it's earned its slot. Thanks so much, Henry. Ah, dude, I was so hyped, and so many nice people like congratulated me. It's sweet to know that I'm not the biggest asshole in town. Can't play it before you have the arrow face up. Okay. I mean, again, I'm just not really doing anything with aim counters, but if we start playing arrows that care about aim counters for the new Ruin Blades, whatever it may be, maybe. Yeah, I could see it. Hmm. Alrighty. Well, I am getting over an illness. So I'm going to say if anybody wants to throw a question at me or anything like that, please do, but I'm probably about to wrap it up. Riku, you're on new. New's a great choice. New scared me pretty good. And if that new had had like a really banger disruption turn, they probably would have got me. What's up, Al? I saw a bunch of people in chat were rooting for me, which was pretty sweet. I know one of the very vocal people was one of my friends, but he's a homie. He's allowed to be vocal. But no, it was a great weekend. I had a great time. Everybody was super nice. All my competition was great. All my matches were fun. It was just awesome. All the judges were great, even though they let some things slip in that one game. It was, there's a lot going on. You've been working all day. Like, shoot. Like, if I'm playing 14 rounds, like, they're still judging 14 rounds, So it is what it is. But yeah, I had a great time. You're hoping for reasons to play Hemorrhage Bore. That's like Command and Conquer if you've got an aim counter. Yeah, I can dig it. That's cool. But you got to be running a lot of aim counter sources, though. That's right. Bob is team security. Watch out. But hell yeah, I think that's where I'm going to call it. But thanks so much for coming and hanging out. We usually stream longer than this, but I'm in a little bit of a funk and might as well get some rest tonight. But much love, everybody. Thanks so much for chilling with me and cheering me on. And hopefully next time I can do even better and kick even more butt for all of you. And for me, too. Yeah, a little janky, but that's all right, Hank. Or Henry. You go by Hank? Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for chilling with me. You guys have a great rest of your night. And I will catch you.